Or in the scientific method? Go in order. What's one? Observe and question. Try not to look. What's two? It's okay. Just try. Before hypothesis. The one you're going to forget. Research. That's the one you got to focus on the most. That's the one you forget on the test. Then we hypothesize because we know stuff and we could come up with an if-then statement or a good prediction of what do you think is going to happen. And then we do what? Experiment. We test this thing, right? I believe this is, if I do this, this is going to happen. And I'm going to need 3 components to have a good experiment. What are they? Does anybody know that?
Dependent, independent.
Good job. Wow. Variables, controls, or constants, right? So yes, dependent and independent would be these. My constant is everything else. And then I could have this group that I don't do anything to. So I could say my variables really worked. Okay? So I'm going to explain this in great detail now. Said independent and dependent. So one is what we test and one is what we measure. Who knows which one is what?
Dependent is one you measure, I think.
Good. Dependent is what you measure. You're dependent on something, right? To give you a result. So that means independent is what we test. So what we change, what we manipulate, what we alter. There's so many words to describe an independent variable. But I can tell you this. If you do the right hypothesis, your independent variable, and you can write this sentence down and I'll repeat it, will follow the word if. If I do this, that's my independent variable, then this will happen, that's my dependent variable. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that so that you can have that in a good hypothesis, the independent variable will follow the word if. So if I do this, that's my independent variable, then this will happen, that's my dependent variable. So if I do this, independent, right here, yeah, then this will happen, so that's my result, my dependent variable. Has to be a good hypothesis. If it's written correctly, it'll have those factors. If I do this, last question, I just made it. How many variables make up a good experiment?
3. 2. 1.
1. Because if I'm going to change something and I'm going to say, if I do this, then this will happen, I should say how many independent variables make up a good experiment. Let's say that. Change that statement. I only want to manipulate one thing so I know that it's because of this is happening. Because if I start manipulating a whole bunch of things, I can never know really what affected the outcome of the experiment. So only one independent variable should be tested at a time. You should only manipulate one thing so that your results are accurate and you could say it's because of this that this happened. All right, so what are controls and what are constants? They're constantly being confused. In a control group, what's missing? Good. We're missing the independent variable. Yep. The control group is missing. You could change the word to independent variable. Constants are everything in the experiment that you keep the same so that only the independent variable is manipulated. Okay? And I'm going to go over some examples now. Is this a good experiment?
No, because it has a light and water, which is 2 different variables.
2 different what kind of variables? Independent. We're manipulating 2 things. We're manipulating light and water. So if the plant starts to grow, which is my dependent variable, I won't know if it was because of the light or it was because of the water. So I have to manipulate only one in order to be able to make accurate conclusions. So now do we have a good experiment? Yep. Who could tell me just by looking at this 2, pot A, pot B, what is my independent variable? Raise your hand.
The light.
The light. How do we know this? It's the one thing I changed. Good job. Good job. What's my dependent variable?
The water. The plant.
Plant doing what? growing. Something has to happen, right? The plant growth. Because remember I said, I wonder if what affects plant growth? This is my wonder, okay? Now, I'm going to do research because that's my second step, right? Who could tell me what is the hypothesis for this experiment? I'm going to start. If I add light, then the plant will grow. I don't know about more. We're just going to say grow. If I add light, and we're going to underline this, try to do it as best you can, the plant will grow faster. So there's a lot of ways you can ask this, but the plant will grow is fine. So I'm saying pot B is going to grow faster than pot A because I'm adding light to pot B. Which one is my control group, people?
Pot A.
Why?
Because you're not adding light.
Because I didn't do anything with the independent variable. Good. And what are my constants? Who can name some constants? Water. What else? The plant, the pot, the box, its location. All of those are good constants. Good job.